November 5th, 1688. The coast of Torbay in southern England. A man on horseback surveyed the mist-shrouded shoreline. William III, stadtholder of the Dutch Republic. 38 years old. Behind him stood approximately 15,000 soldiers. Before him lay the nation of England. But he had not come simply to conquer. Something extraordinary was unfolding. As William's army advanced, English nobles joined his ranks one after another. On English soil, large-scale bloodshed was miraculously avoided. This was no simple invasion. It was a transfer of power by invitation. Though behind that invitation stood the very real pressure of 15,000 armed men. What was going through his mind in that moment? By all accounts, William was cautious. He had no desire to become king by force alone. What he sought was the consent of Parliament. Why had England invited a Dutchman to its shores? To understand that, we must know the man called James II. James, who came to the throne in 1685, was a Catholic king ruling a Protestant England. But that was not all. He prioritized royal prerogative over cooperation with Parliament, deepening his collision with parliamentary governance. He dismissed Protestant officers. He appointed Catholics to positions of power. He believed in the divine right of kings and refused to recognize Parliament's authority. 1687. James issued the Declaration of Indulgence. It extended tolerance to both Catholics and Protestant nonconformists alike. But the problem lay in how he did it. Using royal prerogative, he suspended the application of laws established by Parliament. Above all, policies linked to the promotion of Catholics aroused fierce suspicion. Parliament was furious. The bishops of the Church of England resisted. They sent a petition to James. James had them arrested. But the courts acquitted the bishops. The people rejoiced, celebrating in the streets. That night, word reached James at his palace. The Queen has given birth to a son. A Catholic heir had been born. And rumors questioning the legitimacy of the birth spread rapidly, unleashing a torrent of distrust over the succession. For England's Protestants, it signaled the beginning of a nightmare. June, 1688. In a London mansion, 7 men gathered in secret. They were leaders of Parliament. Whigs and Tories, factions normally opposed, had united for a single purpose. They took up their quill pens and wrote. It was an invitation to William III. England has need of you. Come, to defend the liberties of Protestants and the authority of Parliament. The document was sent in secret to The Hague. If discovered, every man among them faced execution for treason. Still, they signed. When William III received the invitation, how did he receive it? By all accounts, he considered it carefully. Failure would mean losing everything. The Dutch Republic, England, both. But he had another reason. William's greatest enemy was Louis XIV of France. As the champion of Catholic power, Louis perpetually threatened Protestant Holland. If he could secure England, he could stand against France. If James raised a Catholic heir, England would align with France. This was not a matter of faith alone. It was cold calculation to preserve the balance of power in Europe. William made his decision. Prepare the fleet. A fleet of several hundred ships, transports included, some 15,000 men. An expedition on which the fate of Protestant Europe would rest was about to begin. November 1st, 1688. The fleet departed the Netherlands. At first, the winds blew against them. The fleet was forced to turn back. But days later, the wind changed. From the south, a strong wind began to blow. That wind drove William's fleet toward England. Yet at the same time, it pinned James's navy in port. Protestants of the day would speak of this fortunate shift in the wind as the Protestant wind. Was it a wind sent by God or mere coincidence? But history turned on that wind. On November 5th, William landed at Torbay. What was happening in James's camp at that moment? James had assembled his army, but the army was beginning to crumble. John Churchill, later the Duke of Marlborough, the officer James had trusted most defected to William's side. One by one, his officers abandoned him. Even James's own daughter Anne fled. Had they betrayed him? Perhaps not. They had made a choice to defend the Protestant faith and the authority of Parliament. Power was slipping through James's hands like sand. December 11th, 1688. Late at night. James made a decision. But it was not a decision to fight. He stood at the bank of the River Thames. In his hand he carried something. The Great Seal, indispensable to the legal machinery of the state. Contemporary records tell us he cast it into the Thames. He knew what that act meant. If I cannot rule, then let no one rule. But history would not bend to his will. The escape failed. James, in disguise, was discovered by fishermen on the coast of Kent. He was briefly returned to London, but William had made his decision. Do not kill him. Do not try him. Let him go. Why? James must not be made a martyr. William had no desire for a reign that began in blood. December 23rd. James crossed to France in a small boat. The King of England vanished quietly into the night. On English soil, no great battle had been fought. Yet this transformation was not England's affair alone. The troubles of multiple kingdoms, Scotland and Ireland among them, were intertwined, and the conflicts that followed, known as the Williamite Wars, brought armed struggle and heavy casualties in some regions. The name Glorious Revolution refers to what unfolded on English soil. January 22, 1689. Parliament was convened. More precisely, it was a convention parliament, assembled without the summons of a king. A parliament without a king. A situation with almost no precedent in history. The members posed the question: has James abdicated, or has he merely fled? The debate was fierce. But the conclusion was clear. The throne is vacant. The question was, who would sit upon it? The solution was one nearly unique in all of history. Joint rule. William III and Mary II would ascend the throne together. Mary was James's own daughter. Raised as a Protestant, a legitimate bloodline. William, as her husband, would reign alongside her. But there were conditions. Parliament said to William, "You are free to accept the crown or refuse it, but there is no crown without your assent to this declaration of right." February 13th, 1689. William accepted the conditions. On that day, they stood before Parliament. The Declaration of Right was read aloud. The king could not suspend laws without Parliament's consent. The king could not levy taxes without Parliament's consent. Free elections and freedom of speech in Parliament were guaranteed. Maintaining a standing army in peacetime required Parliament's consent. This was not a request. It was a condition. William nodded. That acceptance marked a decisive turning point. Royal authority was now subject to Parliament's terms, and the doctrine of divine right was dealt a blow from which it would not recover. December 16, 1689. The principles set out in the Declaration of Right were enacted into law as the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights. That name would be written into history. Its meaning was clear. A king could not govern without Parliament. The fundamental rights of citizens were protected by law. This was a revolution. On English soil, large-scale bloodshed had been avoided, but that was no accident. It was the result of military pressure, political negotiation, and the choices of the people, converging at once. In later years, people would call this the Glorious Revolution. Revolution required not only the sword, but the word. John Locke. In 1689, he published 2 treatises of government anonymously. His writing is believed to have begun well before the Revolution, suggesting it did not merely justify what had happened, but had prepared the principles that made it possible. His argument was clear. Power springs from the people. If a ruler violates the rights of the people hold the right to replace that ruler. This work would come to exert tremendous influence as the theoretical justification for the Glorious Revolution. But its reach did not stop at England's shores. Locke's words crossed the Atlantic. They crossed mountains. They crossed centuries. 87 years after the Bill of Rights of 1689, 1776. The American Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal, endowed with certain unalienable rights. 10 years after that, 1789, the French Declaration of the Rights of Man. The men who wrote these documents had read Locke, though the flow of ideas was never simple. Republicanism, natural law, Montesquieu's doctrine of separation of powers, many streams converged. Yet historians widely argue that natural rights philosophy, including Locke, and the discourse of the social contract profoundly shaped the language of the American Declaration and the Revolutionary era in France. What happened in England in 1688 played a part in transforming the world's political thought. What did the Glorious Revolution leave behind? Constitutional monarchy. A king still exists. But the king cannot stand above the law. Parliament holds sovereignty. The rights of citizens are protected by written law. This system endures in Britain to this day. Yet the rights of 1689 belonged only to a narrow class of propertied men. It would take far longer for those ideals to extend to all people. Still, the principle that power springs from the people, the idea that even rulers are bound by constraints before the law, the establishment of these principles in writing became one of the founding moments of modern constitutionalism. History records only outcomes. But those who lived it did not know how it would end. William III could not foresee whether the system he helped create would endure for centuries. James II did not know that his flight would become history's verdict upon him. The parliamentarians who drafted the Bill of Rights could scarcely have imagined it would ripple across the world. And so, I put the question to you. If you had been in England's Parliament in 1688, could you have imposed conditions on a king, even at the risk of losing everything? The rule of law and the freedom it protects are never finished in a single day. They are built one choice at a time. How do you carry the weight of that truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with me until the very end. On this channel, we follow history's turning points, moments like the Glorious Revolution that transformed the politics, society, and civilization of the world, staying close to the inner lives of the people who lived them. How did a single decision change the world? Subscribe and turn on notifications, and you'll be among the first to experience those moments in history as they unfold. Until next time.